Hello, everybody. It's my pleasure to introduce Rahel Demant and just a little bit about her. And I just want to make sure everyone can hear me okay, right?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, great. I was having some sound problems earlier. So Rahel, after a double master's degree in finance, worked in Deloitte's transaction advisory division. And then after a consulting job in Canada, the US, and Costa Rica, she founded an event agency organizing art events across Germany. Fascinated by the power and possibilities of emerging tech, she joined VR First as COO in 2016. She's led the program to a network of thousands of developers. To support the diversity of the tech scene, she has initiated the Women XR Laureate Breakthrough Augie Award, honored at the Augmented World Expo, AWE. In 2020, she founded XR Bootcamp, a cohort-based program that educates VR, AR developers to meet the growing industry demand. Her mission is to democratize VR, AR development worldwide through VR First, various support programs, and online competitions. And we're really excited because her group is up for the social impact, or I think it's officially called Biggest Societal Impact at the AWE Augies coming up the end of the month. So, and the description of this award is the best use of AR or VR technologies to make a meaningful and positive impact on the world. So with that being said, I'm really excited to introduce Rahel. Give her a big hand.
Thank you so much, Christine, for the nice introduction. So just like one more item which I would love to add, actually, my whole XR life and passion started in 2016 when I was working at a game development company, which is quite big over here in Europe, Crytek. And they are also doing virtual reality games. And that was the moment when I actually tried these games, and I was working as a project management there, and we tried to hire XR developers to support us on these XR games there. And it was so hard, especially like in Germany, where you cannot find so many people, and we were also trying to move people over there, and it was just very difficult. And that's why we basically started with VR First, which was the university network, and tried to build up labs and consulted universities on their curricula, but it was moving slowly, and the educational programs at universities always unfortunately take a lot of time, 3 to 5 years, and that's why we basically thought we need to change that, and we need to find a program which is shorter, and we need to create programs which are shorter, and that's how the idea of XR Bootcamp was born. And now, we are already the 3rd year in teaching XR development to mostly developers, but now we're also starting programs for designers, and we also have programs for project and product managers. And I would like to talk a little bit about our philosophy, about our course philosophy. So there is one very famous pyramid I'm always referring to. So when you're getting passionate about a topic, I guess everyone is starting out just scrolling the internet, looking at Twitter or Reddit, etc. And it's basically the lower basis of this pyramid, and you don't really know, first of all, you're just very passively possibly consuming the content without really interacting with it, and you can really hide behind your screen, basically. But the more you go towards more serious courses, for example, self-paced video courses, the more you're actually engaging yourself with the content, also trying to create content yourself, the less you can obviously hide, and the more you have to engage, and the more you have to learn. And what's really, really helping is always to have a cohort-based course. So a course which you take together with other students, a course where you can where you talk together about your assignments, where you can get help from your peers, where you can get help from mentors. And that's what we think is super, super important at XR Bootcamp, that you always have mentors to ask, and that you're always learning at the same time together with other students who are always supportive of each other, and also building very, very strong networks together. And yeah, I mean, I think what's very, very important is these three pillars to build XR careers. So first, of course, you need the foundational soft skills, and of course also the hard skills that you can learn in, for example, cohort-based courses. You need to, of course, build project portfolios that serve as your showcase for whoever would like to hire you. And then, of course, you need to be proactive in outreaching to people, to showcasing your work, to network, go to events, etc., etc. And then we also had actually, there was one student, we had one graduate, and she got a fantastic job right now. And what she did actually after doing our boot camp, she first took some life coaching. And that was also very fascinating because she said she first, before applying to jobs, she said she wanted to be very, very clear on what she actually wanted, on what type of job, what kind of company she wanted. And she took some coaching to actually realize herself what was her clear goal, so that afterwards she could get very, very focused on only applying to roles that really, really fulfilled her wishes and her dreams. And then in the end, she got her a job and is now career mentoring our students. So yeah, that was really, really great insight actually from one of our students. And yeah, I mean, that's our program. So the major bootcamp program we have. So we have from beginner level classes to advanced level classes. And what I think is very important to mention here is that we have a free C# coding course in the beginning. And we do that because I mean, still XR development is a lot about coding. It's a lot about programming, even though it becomes now, together with ChatGPT and Copilot tools, AI tools, it becomes much easier. But still, you have to, like it to code and to program and to think about coding problems. And that's why we basically established a free course before actually starting the bootcamp, because we don't want anyone joining the bootcamp and then not actually liking the development work. So by signing up to a free course first, you can actually find out if you enjoy coding and if you enjoy this kind of mindset you need to have and to challenge yourself with the coding programs. And that's very important because I think, you can always dream about careers, but then sometimes from the outside it looks a little bit different than it actually is. And with such free opportunities, you can always try and see, hey, do I actually like what's coming up? And then of course we have the where you learn the foundations, you learn C# and Unity. And then in the 2 last months of the program, you're really getting to prototype and build up your portfolio, which then really helps you to use our career services. You have basically a career mentor who's helping you to apply for jobs and get your resume and motivation letters together. And what's also very, very important when you basically want to start out in the industry is collaborations with companies, with different big titles mostly. And that's also what we are doing together with bigger companies. For example, we are working very closely with Pearson, we're working closely with Meta, and they're giving briefs to our students. And our students are free to also work on their own use cases in the prototyping phase, but they can also work with, for example, Pearson or other industry partners to create prototypes for them and to work on really real industry projects. And that then looks also very nice when you can showcase these kind of things in your portfolio. And and one thing also when you're basically further forward in your career, I think it's always very, very important to learn from people who are successful or who are people are already where you are. So you can always, of course, look into different XR industry networks and check who is actually a person who I like to follow and who has actually the position that I would like to have as well, and then see what they actually have done to be where they are, or what could I learn from them. And that's what we try as well with our trainers. So we're really handpicking our trainers and looking at trainers who are very successful, have either won several awards or have their own successful studios, are working at very big companies, so that we know that our students only learn from people who have actually made it and who have actually who have proven that they are successful and they are passionate about bringing young talent into the industry and never teach outdated materials or anything like that. So that's very important to us. And yeah, and it's of course, for us, it's a very nice circle because we have also advanced level trainings, and there's lots of companies which are sending their developers to our courses. And then these advanced level people, they're always also looking to hire. So we have like a natural flow from our graduates to these companies whenever they need more talent to join their companies. And yeah, so there's a lot of different careers that you can have. And I think one of the very, very interesting things is that whenever you have a subject matter expertise on a particular topic, so for example, if you're an architect or if you're a designer or if you're like coming from the medical industries, that's amazing for the XR industry, because whenever you can bring your own subject matter expertise and combine it with XR prototyping tools, you become super, super valuable to any company who is in the area. Like we are always seeing that with the students who are taking our courses, so that whenever you're like, or we had like students from which were doing robotics before, and then you combine that with XR prototyping schools, it sounds a little bit niche, but then you have such a niche talent that's not replaceable and that no company can find anywhere else, and that's just like a super turbo for any kind of XR career. So if you're fortunate enough to already have a specialization in a specific field, that's always super helpful. And then when you add XR prototyping tools on top of that, afterwards you can just say, hey, I'm combining my expertise, my previous expertise, with my new XR prototyping expertise, and can just create prototypes for these type of companies and really innovate and pioneer those industries where I was in before. And yeah, I think once you've entered the industry, I think what's next is always, of course, continuous learning. I think, there's, especially now with AI, what we are seeing, right? Like there's always so many new topics which are worth it to being explored, and that we need to, of course, learn, and that's going to make us so much more efficient. I think, especially in the XR area, it's going to be much more easier and much more faster to create XR immersive worlds, and it's going to be very, very exciting to be creating in the space. And yeah, and of course, I think it's also very, very important, especially in such new technology areas, to be experimenting and to be risk-taking and to be really at the forefront of what's possible. And then other people will also be aware of what you're doing. If you're always, of course, innovating and prototyping and sharing, of course, on social medias and conferences and everywhere where you're going, what you're working on, especially if it's innovative, I think that's one of the secrets to really being successful, that if you are showing that you're taking risks, that you're able to innovate, and also mentoring other people, that's when you want to really succeed in any career. I think that's super important, when you can already bring younger people forward, when you can show that you have a certain thought leadership on topics, and and always, of course, going to all these industry events that Julie just shared. That's also a very, very cool way to build new networks and to build collaborations with other people, to really show what you're able to do. And and there's really like a few career examples from our students, which had really cool career pathways. For example, there was Sadiq, and he was actually the one I was talking about earlier, who was in robotics before, research assistant at a university in Italy, and he got a job offer as a spatial engineer at Apple. So that was really cool to see. And then we had someone who was a software developer before, and now he's working as XR prototyper at Meta. And and Emma is the one who actually took the coaching, and she is now a technical artist at Polyarc, and you may know Moss VR, which is a very, very cool game. So she's very happy there in her new position. And and what I actually wanted to show you, there's actually one of our graduates from the Beyond Inclusion program, which was just mentioned, Ambika. And she wanted to join us today, but unfortunately, it's her second day today. Like, she just got accepted into her new role at Jaguar Land Rover as a digital integrated production specialist. And she wanted to tell us more about her role and how, basically XR prototyping and knowing more about XR helped her to get that job. Unfortunately, we cannot show videos here. But I mean, we're very proud of Ambika, because she was actually a little bit scared of the career perspectives and everything. And yeah, but like she was also very lucky because she was also always a fan of the automotive industry, and that's why she, in the prototyping phase of our bootcamp, she created a prototype, an automotive prototype, and then she showed that in the interviews at Jaguar, and then she got the job. And it's just it's just really amazing to see how it can play out. Yeah, and so I'm also looking forward to see how it. I mean, it's just her second day at work now, so she didn't want to already download new softwares like this one on her work computer. And yeah, so she wanted to leave us a nice video message, but unfortunately it's not working. But yeah, I mean, feel free to connect with her on social media. She will also do an announcement about that. And there's also another cool example of our students I wanted to show is Berenice. She was a violinist before, like a concert violinist, musician. And she just built an amazing portfolio, and I just recommend you all to check Terwey, which is her last name, terweyxr.de. It's in German, but you can see basically under projects, you can see all the prototypes she did at XR Bootcamp. And it's just like the way she built her portfolio is like super professional, and I'm very impressed by her ability to showcase her projects. And yeah, and she's like successfully freelancing now, so that's also very cool. And yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I mean, yeah, if you would like to support us, I mean, I think last time I was here, I was also talking about this Beyond Inclusion Scholarship, and it was together with XRSI, the XR Safety Initiative, we were able to sponsor students to take the bootcamp, like students like Berenice and Ambika were actually Beyond Inclusion Fellows. And yeah, now we are nominated for the Oggy Awards and in the category of societal impact. So I would be very grateful if you would vote for this program, because any vote you can give us may help us to continue this program in the future. And yeah, I mean, feel free to ask any question if you have any questions. And we also have a Discord server where you can ask any kind of questions and build your network in the XR industry.
Rahel, could I just add something?
Yeah, of course.
I just wanted to say I had personal experience with XR Bootcamp during COVID. My business was an in-person training business, and when COVID happened, it kind of just went down the tubes. So I joined one of their boot camps, and I had no coding experience, but I understood how to manage projects. So they partnered me with a developer, and we, through our the project that we were doing, we created an active shooter virtual reality program, and it was just amazing, and it gave me some insight. And I'm still not really a coder, but I've taken their C# course, and it kind of helps. Even if you're not a coder, it kind of gives you some insight into how that is done. And so I highly recommend anyone that's thinking about doing some kind of training. Their boot camps are amazing.
Thank you so much, Christine.
Hi, this is Manish.
Did you say something? I couldn't hear.
Can you hear? Can you hear?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a hum with your microphone, Manish, but go ahead.
I just wanted to know, is there any bootcamp that would be specifically for a person who's trying to do virtual production or into cinematic VR?
For cinematic VR, we don't have specific programs for that. We are right now, what we're actually launching is like a program for designers and project managers, but that's not specific for production purposes. So we're really heavily focusing on making people self-capable of either prototyping as a designer or really developing their own XR projects. So that's our focus, because that's for anyone to develop a career in the XR industry. That's still the way to go in most ways, but of course, yeah, so we don't have projects about that.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Does anybody else have any other questions?
I have a question, Ms.
Oh,
Trisha.
yeah, go ahead, Trish.
I wanted to know, in terms of those that have gone through the boot camp, do you guys, I guess, is there a directory of the different fields that they might be in that's available on your website? Like if I was looking for a developer or something else, some, yeah, for whatever.
For if you want to hire,
Yes.
yeah, we actually have like a list of the profiles that are currently like available, and I can send it, but we have that in an email format. So if you want, I can send that to you by email. So just connect with me on LinkedIn, and then I can send that to you.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
No worries.
I have a quick question. Thank you so much for your presentation. I'm wondering, have you ever partnered with colleges for kind of as, an extension class with colleges? And if you haven't, would you consider it?
Oh yeah, we would absolutely love to, definitely. I mean, that's definitely something we want to go into, and to help more students, more younger talents as well, to get into the area. So if you have any contacts, or if you're in a college yourself, feel free to talk about it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I'd like to ask as well, what are some of the career opportunities you see for freelancers as opposed to people who are going to be applying for standard jobs?
I mean, it's of course it takes time, right? Because you have to first build up your, like, for example, I mean, check Berenice's profile, right? And Berenice is amazing at actually putting herself out there, because of course, when you want to start off as a freelancer, there's a lot of self-marketing you have to do, right? And I think one of the ways also to become successful there is to go to hackathons, and to show yourself there, and to develop more and more prototypes that you can showcase to potential clients. And then what Berenice is also doing very well is, for example, on the Creators Discord, she's very active, helping other people so that everyone sees that she is actually an expert in her field. And that works fantastic for her. I think, she's she's doing very well with her freelance career in XR. But of course, when you're just starting off and don't have so much previous experience, it's a little bit the harder route to go. And yeah, for example, for also like another, I mean, she's always posting on LinkedIn. And then, for example, Meta featured her as one of her XR Bootcamp projects got featured by Meta. And then another one got featured on the Unity Twitter. So yeah, that's like ways you can go, and just by promoting yourself and showing your skill sets. And then it's working. It's definitely working. So it really depends on what kind of like expertise areas you can bring also from before, what kind of subject matter expertises you have. Any other questions I could answer?
I have a question, and I'm so sorry if you already answered this at some point in this presentation. I had a terrible time conflict this morning, but I'm really interested in this, and I'm curious. I see that you've got some Unity stuff in as a part of this boot camp, and I'm curious specifically about Niantic Lightship. Does your course cover that at all?
No, we're really focusing on the Unity and the C# part of the training, because it's basically the other stuff you can mostly learn by yourself. So we're focusing on basically the more difficult parts, and where you really need a few weeks to learn the things. But I think, as far as I know, the Niantic Lightship stuff you can really learn that with like with a Udemy course or something.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't want to underestimate it.
Yeah.
I don't know myself, but yeah, we're focused on the Unity stuff.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Does anybody else have any other questions for Rahel?
Otherwise, thank you so much for having me and inviting me.
Thank you, Rahel. I think it's time for photo time. So that's what we usually do at the end of a great presentation. We take a photo, and maybe if you want to put whatever slide you would like behind you. And everybody, let's head up to the stage. And thank you, Rahel, for presenting to our XR women today. Hey. Thank you. Thank you. Are you taking the photo, Robin? Is that why you're saying? Are you okay with that?